poetry and turn them into songs using Suno. And then I went beyond that and just went right to lyric writing. So, and then since then, I've done what I call bespoke tracks for birthday songs. I've written intros and outros for folks' shows, and I'm going to monetize that.
Let's have a chat about that. I'm really interested in how you're going to do that and how much you'll charge. What do you think is the real? I just want to say hello to Steve on Steve Dart on um, Substack. I can't fold these comments into the feed, but I'm going to have to say this manually. I've sent you the link, Steve, if you want to join us. I'd love to hear what you think about Substack, if you're using it, and if you want to make any comments about the whole social audio feature. I'm happy to have you. But I'd love to hear, Mike, what you think could work on for social or for sort of social music, if you like. How much do you think a song that you create is worth to someone? Now, that's maybe a different question to what they think it's worth, but you're not going to do it for $10, or would you? I mean, what do you think is a fair price?
Well, we talked about this offline a little bit, and it's going to depend on what you mean. And what I mean by that is for the bespoke musica stuff, I'm probably going to start. It really depends on what they're able to pay. But for instance, if it's a relatively well off individual or couple, and they're looking for instance, a wedding, custom wedding song. And it's also going to depend on how much work I have to do. But generally, I'm going to be in probably like the $200 to $500 range.
For one song.
But for one song.
Do you think?
But I think they will.
Okay.
But only for that type, and it's going to be a one-off. That's why it's going to be so much money, because otherwise I'm going to start out at least in the neighborhood, because this is the minimum on Bandcamp. I think it's $1 something a track, and I believe it's $9 an album. Now you can basically, I think the kind of going rate is about $10 an album, and the other thing is you can turn on kind of pay extra, almost like a tip, and that can go up to 40%. So we'll see. And then the other thing that's a little, and this is why I'm going on TikTok, Keith. Otherwise, I probably would never go on TikTok, and so that's to drive eyeballs and folks to the streaming platforms and Bandcamp. Bandcamp to buy the track, and then the streaming platforms to stream it.
Okay. Yep, that's okay. I'm very interested in what other people think they would pay to have a song written for them. I mean, in the sense that most people can't do it. I'd be very interested to know. I've got a very good friend of mine in Melbourne that I'll send you to, and who wants to write a song, can't do it, doesn't know how to do it, would pay people to do it. I'd be very interested, and he's quite well off, so he may pay you $500 for that. I don't know, but he can't do it. So the point is that it's not like he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't have that skill. So that's what it is. When I was playing in bands, most of the singers that I worked with couldn't play an instrument. This is quite common. A lot of musos can play an instrument. The singers can play guitar or keyboards, but often the singer can't play an instrument. So it's not like they can say, oh, I think this song's in G, and can you just do the middle 8 in A minor, and can we just sort of get this funky and Dorian scale going in the solo? They don't know how to talk like that. They just go, look, I know what I know, and I know if I like it, but I don't know how to do it. So they can sing and maybe write lyrics, but they don't know how to play an instrument. That's what this site is really designed for. But anyway, this is very, very, very cool. Charlie Lewis Jr., jump in and tell us what you think. And you're writing a series of comments here. I'm not sure they're related to what we're talking about. I don't actually know if what you're saying relates to what we're saying, but please let me know if you want to speak about this. Steve Dart is in the room, and I'm very happy to have him. But Bez and Sherry, what do you think of this idea of charging for writing songs, and how much would you pay, or how much do you think the market will pay to have songs written for them?
Well, it really all very depends on the use for the song and who, yeah, like the affordability, right? Yeah, like what Mike said, it's really up to, well, if they are wealthy or well-off people, they can probably pay more, and if it's a one-off or it's a more frequent deal. And I was just saying, yeah, Mike, I was thinking because I've already done a lot of concerts and they've been recorded, and I've got a sound engineer friend who's been helping me with yeah, with the audio, and yeah, maybe I can publish them on Bandcamp and maybe charge a little bit for those as well, instead of like printing CDs, which is not actually very practical these days. Not too many people have CD players anymore.
Yeah, I would say go digital as digital as you can go. Online, because I mean people have their phones, but they're I don't even know if I have a CD player anymore. I actually I think I have one in my computer, but I don't have one just to play CDs. Maybe in my car. I don't use them though. Like right now, because I have all these songs I've created on Suno, I Bluetooth to my car and play I play my songs in the car. In fact, I wrote one for my 11th, my wife and I's 11th anniversary, and I surprised her by playing it on the way to our anniversary breakfast.
Wow.
I love it. When Mike mentioned that he was going to do bespoke musical songs, now this is I'm going to save this because not many people will listen to this version. You know how someone says, "Tell me something about you that no one knows." Right? No one knows this. No one. 3 people in the world know about this. I wrote my sister's wedding song. I just remembered that today. It was 1995. Right. So back in the day, I had a DX7 or a V50, which is like a Yamaha gadget with a sequencer. And I just met Carol, and she came over, and we were going to go out for tea. And I'm thinking, well, I'm practicing. I got this big classical music exam coming up, and she says, "Do you want me to be here or not?" I mean, bloody musos, am I here or am I not? I'm going to go. We had this big fight, this huge fight. She left the house. And then I thought, oh, no, that I stuffed up there. We were going out for tea and we were going to go to this concert, but I had to do this practice for my classical exam. I did 3rd grade classical piano. And I had to do this practice. And so anyway, I wrote this song, "Say You'll Stay With Me Forever." This heartfelt sort of bad English / power ballad from the 80s. And I recorded it. Cost me hundreds of dollars, and I sent it to her. I said, "Look, please come back, please come back." And I played it to her. I said, "Look, I stuffed up there. Say you'll stay with me forever." I don't know if I've got it. I've got it on a cassette somewhere in the shed. And this was like early on. And then my sister said, "Well, we're getting married. Could you re-record that song and can we play it for the wedding song? Like for the wedding dance?" I said, "Oh, okay." Cost me hundreds of dollars. Paid a guitarist, had to go to a studio. And as a result, this was the catalyst that made me give up music because she was so fussy. No, I don't want that sound. I want a different sound. I said, "It's my song. It's my song, which I'm doing for you." And anyway, we had this big fight. And I ended up giving her that song as the wedding song, but I never wrote music after that. That was the catalyst. That was the moment when I realized, I don't want to do this anymore. was a moment in time. And then that song wasn't very good, but I wrote it, so I was a bit biased. And it sounded like all of those other power ballads that came out in the 80s, with Aerosmith and Bad English and Motley Crue, and they all had one. Poison, a little bit like Every Rose Has a Thorn, so that sort of stuff. So there's definitely a market for bespoke music, because that was the only time that anyone had ever heard that song. And I've got to be honest, several people who were at the wedding came up to me and says, "Mate, can I get that? That's pretty good." No, it's not that good. Well, like, here's a blank cassette, or here's $5. Can you send me this? I said, "Look, it's not that good." "No, I want it. Anyway, so there's a market for this, mate. I think there's probably a market for this. So it's all part of the fun. But I would be interested to know whether you could make it as a living, or whether it'd just basically pay your gas bill.
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, that's why I'm trying to go with these two streams to start out with. And so, to be honest, I think maybe there's a little more for the bespoke tracks than the other. But again, and we've already talked about this. There's an explosion of tracks, and so what's different about mine? Well, I write my own lyrics, and it's either gonna vibe with people or not. If it vibes with people, then it'll sell. If it doesn't, it won't, and that's fine, because I've already released tracks. I don't think I told you this, Keith, but I did a track for my sister-in-law's memorial, and I did a song for my best childhood friend's family. I mean, I basically wrote a song in a memorial for him, and I sent that along to the family. But that's so. I can do it just for myself and family. I don't have to do it for pay. But it's found. I mean, again, on LinkedIn, I've done a number of birthday tracks, and Bez knows Felipe. Felipe kind of started that trend. I did a song for him on Nani's. Veroni, I think is her last name, on her show, and then it kind of just took off from there. So
I remember that. And can you guys educate me? You and Sherry have said something about Bandcamp. Now, don't get excited that Bez is going to put music out there, because I'm not. I'm like what Keith describes, the singer that can't play an instrument, but I don't sing. You don't want me to sing.
That's good. I like that. I'm the singer who doesn't play an instrument, but I can't sing. I love that. That's a great definition. I love that. I'm really excited about that. I'm going to use that again.
Well, Bez, if you have an audio track, though, like, let's say you wanted to do, something about, your how many pillars do you have in your job? If you want to do an audio,
8.
8 pillars. If you want to
Yeah.
do like a series of lectures on, as an audio, you could sell them on there.
Yeah.
And in fact, if
Yeah.
you want to wrap
Oh.
those up into an album, you can wrap it up into an album.
Oh, so I'll check out Bandcamp. So yeah, no, it's fascinating. So let me ask you, because I don't, Mike, maybe you can fill me in, but I know Keith took 10 years of music theory, and I've been trying to encourage him to, like, do what you're doing, right? Is because look, if you take 10 years of music theory, come on. I took 2 years of it, and it was the worst class that I ever took. It's very mathematical, to be honest. It's just, I don't have the mind for it, right? And that's a skill that I know you could produce music or you could teach people how to do it better than so many of us. And what I want to know, Mike, what are you a musically inclined person? What's your journey like?
Well, I've been a vocalist for most of my life. So I kind of like what Keith was saying. I can read music, but I can't play.
Mm,
Um, and so, but I was I led worship in a church for like 6 years. Um, and then before that, I sang in a bunch of choirs, including we sang Handel's Messiah, like a 400 voice choir with a full orchestra.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So it's been too many years. That's why if you asked me to sing, I wouldn't do it right now. But so I have that background, right? And I think the other thing is because I've written poetry for so long, um, that I mean, it is a bit of a change to go from poetry to lyrics. And so although I took one of my first songs actually in Suno, and it's really kind of what got me so excited about Suno, was directly. I took my poem right out of my notebook or whatever, put it into Suno, and Suno did the rest. Now it's not necessarily what I consider my best track, but it's okay. And then I did another one. It's based on the another poem, and I played it really slow. And so what I'm learning, to I'm kind of going backwards of what Keith would do, and that's I'm revisiting any of my music theory, and then just reading up on how a song progresses basically, and to Keith's point, what key do you want it in, and then all of there is a fair amount of what would they call them, like style, like do it faster, do it slower, and you can change the keys in the middle. Well, I'm still trying to figure that out because half the time the AI doesn't listen to what you're asking it to do. But yeah, it's it's fun. But I mean, could Keith do it? Absolutely, if he wants to.
Yeah, why don't we have this discussion? And Sherry, I'd love your thoughts on this because I'm probably going to side with you on this. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with the ethics of writing a song using a computer program where the lead singer from my favorite band from 1987 sounds exactly spot on, because that's not fair to him. I've created songs and I'm thinking, geez, my favorite band could have sang this, but I know I didn't write it because I've written songs. I know my level. And I thought, I'm not sure where I sit on the ethics of this yet. So that's why I'm not offering this as a commercial enterprise. I'm happy to help people. I know how to do it. I've pulled it apart. I know exactly what to do. But I'm not going to charge people for that because I'm not sure that's the right thing to do. So why don't we start with you, Sherry? What do you think of this Suno idea that someone can punch in a lyrics and get a Van Halen song or something that sounds like Mariah Carey? That doesn't feel right, does it?
Well, as much as we think so, but there's so much AI doing things for us. You can't really tell if an image on the internet is real or not anymore. So I don't know how we have any power to actually impose any ethical decisions over these kind of things. I suppose if you tell people this was generated by AI, and some people can accept that, but well, for me it would be a little bit uncomfortable coming from the traditional kind of you know musical world.
Yeah. Actually, let's start here. Coincidentally, because I'm not an artist, I don't have any qualms, and so I'm playing this out myself now. I don't have any qualms typing in YouTube, smartphone, laptop, sunset, and having DALL-E spit out this lovely image of a laptop with YouTube playing, overlooking the dolphins swimming in the beach and a sunset. I don't have any trouble with that, right? So is it just the format? Because I'm not an artist, I don't feel like I'm stealing anyone's work because I can't do it. I have no idea how to do it.
Well, isn't that hypocritical
That's
ethically, though?
that's why I'm saying it. I'm saying it exactly to put myself on the line there.
No, fair enough. And that's the reason I'm asking, though, is first of all, we don't know how DALL-E was trained, and that's part of the problem, right? Secondly, I mean, typically the lawyers are going to have to sort this out, and my understanding is there's at least one other platform. Now, whether it's going to produce the same level of songs, I don't know. And maybe Suno, after this, however this gets settled, may have to retrain the model. But it's, to me, Keith, it's like, okay, did you use MIDI? Did you use a Moog synthesizer back in the 70s or 60s? Do you use these tools that already have all these tracks and studio tools that allow you to do all of this computer aided wizardry?
Oh, of course.
It gets a little, to me, the only if, and this is what the lawsuit's about, by the way, is that the claim from Suno is that they used what they call fair use. And the claim of the RIAA is that that they didn't. So they believe that there is some compensation needed. But after, let's say, either way that settles, number one, I'm a user. I didn't do this directly, so I'm stuck in the middle. So at any rate, my fallback position, if this other model has been quote unquote ethically trained, I'll just switch over to a new model and continue on my hoping that they come up to speed as far as the quality of the songs it's producing, which I would think they would, because at some point this is about an algorithm. And
does anyone remember what happened with Napster? Was there compensation involved? Who paid who?
Well, Napster kind of went away. I don't remember exactly what happened, but that was pirated software. This is not the same thing. That was direct pirated tracks.
Yeah, okay. So it's supposition to say it's not the same. In my opinion, it's the same. You're stealing the guitar sound from Bon Jovi.
No. You're taking it's completely different. I'm sorry. It's completely different, because what's coming out of the AI is produced by the AI completely. You're not ripping any track and putting that track into Suno. It's not how it works.
No.
The AI, and it is. I mean, from a sort of outside perspective, you're like, I don't know, I don't understand what you're saying, but there is a very big difference of applying, a software algorithm to millions of song bits, and then coming out with completely new bits. And we already talked about this, Keith. There aren't that many new progressions available in the universe. And there's, in all pop songs, there's 4 chords that are, or many of them, and they're the same chords. So I mean, I understand both sides, and I'm in a bit of a quandary, but at the same time, I'm like, the lawyers are gonna have to figure it out. And meanwhile,
that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not prepared to go full on into it, just in case someone knocks on my door and says, "Hang on, mate. I know this sounded like a good idea to you, but you owe us 100,000."
I don't know how they can go after me. I used a program. I'm a third party. They can go after Suno. How are they going to go after me?
No,
How are
that's
they
a
going
good
to?
point. No, I think you are right that they probably won't go after individual consumers. What we mentioned this yesterday, Deezer, Deezer, which is a European equivalent of Spotify, actually gets 30,000 submissions every day. How are they going to chase them all down? It's a little bit like someone knocking on your door and saying, you know what, you're not supposed to tape the radio. Did anyone ever come to your house and say, you're taping the top 40 on a Friday night? That's not technically allowed. Has there ever been a case where someone got stung for recording the TV on their VCR? I don't know of one. Even though we know
No,
it.
actually, in the U.S., and I could be wrong, but my understanding was, if I was listening to the radio and I made a tape of it, and I did not, I played that in the house or in my car. I didn't play that, or I didn't give it to anyone. I didn't distribute it. And that's absolutely true of if I bought, let's say, a CD, if now we're digital, if I bought it on CD, I own the rights to play that track anywhere, including on my PC without the CD. So I could rip that off the CD and play it in the car. That I had bought the right to play that song anywhere.
What do you think, Bez? You're sort of sitting there in the middle in a sort of a non-musical position. Do you think the legal situation is still a little bit uncertain, or do you think that it's unlikely anyone's going to get stung for this?
I would be very careful, and I would make sure you go buy yourself some what they call general liability, and also errors and omission. And actually go talk to a professional business insurance agent. Make sure that you're structured, because if they come after you, you want to make sure you're not you're protected in some manner. Now, you won't be protected about breaking the law. If there is, if I think this is going to be litigated for years. I mean, let's talk about litigation in the music industry. It hasn't stopped. People said, "Oh, you got my chord progression." Come on now. There's nothing new under the sun, but people still fight and protect their song, and so there's entertainment lawyers that's all they specialize in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. What the future may hold, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm just sort of sitting on the fence, but I think this idea of creating a song for someone's wedding and charging $200, I think that's probably comes under fair use. It's a very unique idea. It's not going out for public consumption, is it? I know there was a very famous case where John Lennon was had up for 3 songs on his album that sounded exactly like someone else's. And he said, yeah, okay, I'm not going to fight you on that. They do sound a bit similar. I'll give you 10%, or whatever I make on those songs. Just fair enough. I could just give you 10%. And those 3 songs were on an album. They didn't become a hit. They were just 3 songs on the album. So he got, I guess this person might have got 30% of the album sales of that album. Maybe that's what they're going for. My very good mate, Mark, has had several songs in the public eye. This is a very interesting story. My mate, Mark, has a publishing deal. He is represented by a professional. When he writes songs, he sends it to them and he submits it to an artist, to a TV show, to whatever. And he had this really cool song called 4 Million Ways to Die. Very, very unique idea. Very unique idea. Like, I mean, when have you ever heard a song called 4 Million Ways to Die, right? Then suddenly the public transport system in our town created this song called 4 Million Ways to Die with the exact same melody. And he went to the guy and he said, well, what do you think? He says, well, I don't want to say too much. It does sound pretty similar, but what chance have we got of winning? You are one person living in the suburbs. What do you want to mortgage your house to pay your legal bills? What do you want to do? You could probably win it. It'll cost you 100 grand. You might win it, but what cost? For the knowledge of knowing that they did steal your song and that you won and you proved it, you've lost your house. Are you going to do that? You might win and you might get some money back, but probably not. So a lot of legal stuff is about, it's a bit of a game. Can we win? How much will it cost if we lose? Is it worth taking that risk? Like, as an example, someone was building a 3-story house next to us, and we said, oh, we got to fight that. So we went to this guy and he says, look, I calculate you've got a 30% chance of winning and it'll cost you 3 grand. I'm happy to do it. You got a 70% chance of losing and wasting your 3,000. Why don't you just have a chat to them and ask them if they can just make it 2 stories with a nice tree in the front? Right. So we didn't take him to court because there was a 70% chance we are going to lose our 3 grand and all that stress. So we didn't go. And we just had to chat to them and worked out some sort of arrangement. So legality it's costly. Legal stuff is costly. That's why I don't want to get involved in the legal stuff of music. I'm doing it for fun and I'm having a bit of fun with it on my PC, and a few people get to hear it, but I'm not making any money out of it. There's no commercial concern, in my opinion, which hopefully will protect me from any legal obligations. I'm only just playing around with fun like the other 30,000 people doing it. So to your point, Mike, how can they come after us? We're just using a software that's been available to us. How it's not our fault. We're using it. We're choosing to use it, but the software is there. Yeah. Very interesting. You're going to go, Bez? It's getting late.
Yes, I must exit stage left.
Do you have a bit of a chat to Shakira? Have you got that one started for us?
Shakira. Yes, I would love to have a chat with Shakira, but it was Samira.
Samira. That's right.
Yeah.
The Shakira of Iran. She's gorgeous. So, you're going to help her out. And so that'll take its own course.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I was a bit late. I wanted to pick up on the Asia, Hong Kong, Singapore thing. And I also wanted to play a bit around with the Pacific coast, just for something different.
That's good. But I forgot I had to wake up early tomorrow. So I'm already nodding.
You, Mike? You're getting late there. You want to go, or you're still going?
I'm gonna go. So I'll exit stage left and have a wonderful evening. And thank you for a great conversation.
No worries. Now, Mike, if you want to, I'm happy to play some of your songs, because yesterday we ran an experiment where we played one of your songs and my system collapsed, and they happened to coincide.
You want to see if it does it again? We can do it.
Yeah.
Here,
can you play one of those heavier ones in drop down D, or the song you played yesterday was very good. Could have been on the radio.
Do you remember the name of it?
You were dressed in white, as sort of like a white soldier. There was some
yeah. You're talking about the video.
Well, obviously that's the video that was playing at the time, because you've timed them up. But the song I was more interested in the song. I didn't watch the video, but you explained the video and you said there was this guy in white symbolizing purity.
Yeah. That's the clarity. Clarity and chaos. That's about the normal. What's going on today, and trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And the style is called Coptic grunge, by the way.
Oh, Coptic grunge. Wow. With a K or C?
With a C.
C. Okay. Have you experimented with, while we're waiting for Mike to pull those songs up, have you experimented with songwriting? You're a poet, Sherry, and you play music. Have you ever combined them?
Not by myself, but I have had composer friends who's written pieces for me, inspired by my poetry. And I'm actually performing one of them in 2 concerts in France in January next year.
So you gave them the words and they composed a song?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, several composers have already done that.
Who sang it?
The they're not always the song. There was one that's actually just recited. And so I've got a narrator, poet narrator, and I play piano, and then there's a viola d'amore. It's like an old viola, a baroque kind of viola, playing at the same time in the background. It's quite pretty. It's a New Zealand composer who wrote for me.
Oh wow! Well, we'll pick up on that. So, what are you going to play, Mike? And I'm really keen to see you do a show about this. Like, I mean, just push the go button. And have a
Sorry,
go.
Keith, I'm having
You want to
trouble
go?
like hearing you, or I might have to go out and come back and see if
All
I
right.
have
No
bad
worries.
luck.
Okay. Try it again. How close are you to doing a show? Mike?
Well, I really want to, Keith, in order to get all this going, I really want to come up with a name of a studio / label, because I want to start monetizing, and in order to do that, I need to call myself something besides. Right now I have Cybervision, and that's just not cutting it. That's what I have up on Suno, so I have to figure out another label, and once I do that, everything else kind of falls into place, including.
Can't you do some shows on a like? There's a very famous band in Australia called Cold Chisel, which had 18 hits. And when they toured, the first couple of gigs they did under a name Barking Spiders.
You could.
Just do a pseudonym. Just do a couple of shows. But that's okay. I mean, you can wait and wait and wait. Bez has been waiting since March.
No, I'm really pushing. I've been going crazy, dude. I've been trying to think of all, and I asked my wife because she's in marketing, and she shoots them down or whatever. I may probably reach out to someone else, and see if we can work something out to narrow down. I mean, I started with like 200, and that's just too many. I got kind of over
What's in
stimulated.
the name? What's in a name?
Everything.
I mean, if I said to you
Dude.
Electric Ladyland, do you know whose studio that was?
No. But dude, that's the other thing. I don't know. Like, I know songs. Like, like I didn't even know Queen was Queen until I don't know, like years later. Because I know I like a song. I know I can. Well, I can't recite all the words to the song, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I like that song. And except for the Beatles, I mean, some of the really really big bands, although Queen was kind of big. Like I knew the Beatles, I knew the Rolling Stones, I knew Black Sabbath, I knew Pink Floyd. But other than that, I mean, I didn't know a lot of other bands, and I loved their music. Like Steve Miller had tons of music that I liked, but I didn't know
Who it was.
that he, huh?
Have you heard of the Foo Fighters?
Yeah.
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 So Dave Grohl, who was the drummer with Nirvana,
Mm-hmm.
when Kurt Cobain died,
Yep.
he locked himself in his own basement and wrote an album, and he played every instrument.
Mm.
And he released that album. And then, this is exactly what the point I'm making. Then they said, well, what are you going to call the band? What do you mean a band? It's me. Yeah, but you're going to have to play this live. I played every instrument. Why do I need a band? Well,
Yeah.
unless you're going to play it live. So anyway, he did a whole album, 12 songs in, I don't know what it was, 1995. Really good album. He played every instrument himself, invisible, anonymous. And then he said, well, we better release the album. What's the name of the band?
He called the Foo Fighters.
And he called it the Foo Fighters. That's how he came up with that name.
That is funny.
That's how he came
but-
up with it. He was
but-
up against the wall. Well, I don't know. Let's
But
let's
Keith-
just call it Foo Fighters. What does that mean? I don't know. You asked me. I've got to have a name. I don't have a name.
Call
It's
it Who
one
Flung
album.
Poo.
What?
Call it Who Flung Poo.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But the thing is that he then, as a result, said, "Oh, this is actually going pretty well. I better get a band." So
Yeah.
he then went and got a drummer and a bass player and a keyboard player and a sax player, and then he had to do gigs because he can't play every instrument live by himself.
Yeah.
But the album came first before the band.
Mm.
Right.
Mm.
And do you know the story of Boston, the song Boston by Boston, More
Mm.
Than a Feeling? Do you know that
Yes.
story?
Yep. Well, no, I know the story.
You do?
No, I don't.
So Boston, the band, wrote the whole album in their basement, and it was actually number one before anyone knew who they were. Like they'd never done a gig. And then suddenly this band who did an album in their basement, 1974, said, "Oh, we better go and do some gigs." And so the number one song was being played in the local bar by a band that had never played before together live. And people go, "Shit, that's number one, and this is our town." And the band was called Boston because they're from Boston, right? That's how they
That's
got the
funny.
name. They were from Boston, and they played in their basement, and then someone picked it up. I mean, sometimes you can wait too long.
No, I mean, dude, I wanted to get a catalog, right? I wanted to get enough to release, I didn't want like one song or whatever. And all of a sudden, all of this creativity just poured out of me.
Yeah.
And like I said, I did it in a bunch of different ways. I did the birthday songs, which of course I wouldn't stream or sell. My wife actually thinks that there was a couple other ones I wrote that she thinks are radio ready, and she has a pretty good ear. So
Play one of those. Tell us about that.
well, let's just do this one before. Actually, I don't know. I kind of like this one. so
Okay.
hold on.
Tell us what it is and how you write.
'Cause-
What's the premise?
Well, this is the one that's called "Finding Clarity with in the Chaos," and it's really about today. That there's a lot of division and noise and stuff going on, and so I'm just trying to figure everything out and find some clarity. So and it's really Keith. I mean, I don't know where you are in your life. I'm getting older, and I'm like, I'm just after my quad bypass, I'm like, I want to find purpose. I want more out of life than just making a buck. So that's what this is sort of a journey.
Yeah, I love it. I love
finding-
this. I love this. This is good.
So here it goes.
I was standing in the middle of the noise, couldn't hear my heart above the crowd. Every choice felt like a shadow voice, every hope got lost somehow.
Then a whisper rose inside the storm, telling me to just let go.
The path may twist, but it's how we're formed. Through the fire, spirit grows. I'm finding clarity in the chaos of today, where the fear begins to fade. Every tear that fell became the cost of the strength that I've now made. I'm learning peace inside the struggle, where the unknown lights the way. I'm finding clarity in the chaos of today. tear that fell became the cost of the strength that I've now made. And in the quiet after thunder, I can finally hear me say, I'm finding clarity in the chaos of today.
Love it. I love it. I love that. I just love how
Yeah.
you know that this sort of duality, this duet. I don't think it's technically a duet, but it's this sounds very similar to a See the song. See the lead singer Sean Morgan was dating at that time the lead singer from Evanescence, Amy Lee, and they had a song called Broken, and sound brilliant. Like this song could be on the radio. It could be on the radio, couldn't it? It's that good. But of course, you probably haven't heard this song, so you're not stealing it. You're not stealing it from them because you haven't even heard it yourself.
Well, see,
But
this is my point. And I had my wife's friend who has like an encyclopedic memory for songs, and I didn't play that one for her, but I played another one. She said, "Oh, that sounds like blah blah blah." I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And again, I wrote the lyrics to these, so these are not. I'm not taking the lyrics, and from a legal perspective, I do know I completely own the lyrics because I'm not using Suno for that. I'm creating the lyrics myself. I actually want to find Smile. This one is a little more wooey. See if I can find it. Pop song. It's ambient. Probably not going to find it in time. But anyway, let's see if this is it. Yeah.
Freely given, lightens loads, heals wounds, bringing touching a heart, reaching out, showing love, itself reflected to the giver, reflected reflection. A benediction, a moment frozen in time, treasured I
just realized that I was on low the whole time. that one, Keith, was written. That was taken right from the poem. This is a poem I wrote like, I don't know, 20 years ago.
Yeah. But you didn't write the music.
No, no.
How did you that sounds like it could be in Phantom of the Opera or
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the prompt. Let me show you the prompt for this.
I can imagine
is
musicals
sort-
being written this way now.
Yeah. So, this is where, making this prompt, you kind of have to learn how to write the prompts for this.
Mm.
And then you actually tell it like in here. Let me see if I can pull this, share it better.
Do you know do you know the fundamental difference between poetry and songwriting?
But
Do you? They're not the same.
no, you have to change the whole. Well, first of all, you have to make it fit the music. Where poetry is normally spoken. It's not sung.
Yeah. So that was obviously a poem. There was no chorus,
Right.
and it was a long song. A song was a song, but there was no chorus, and there was no middle eight, and there was no
Yep.
repeating. There's no verses. So that in itself, I don't know if people want that, but I've always assumed songs had a verse and a chorus and a middle eight, a double chorus and a solo, and there's a structure.
Yeah.
But what I'm really interested in is, because I listened to the replay yesterday, what we're doing here is not good enough for a music-based show. It's cutting out and in and out, and I don't know what we're going to use. Because even Sherry was saying her phone's playing up and the music was cutting in and out, and it goes soft and it goes loud. It's not the radio. It's not. We hear it in our ears because we're hearing it pure from the source. But when it goes through all of this stuff and it comes out the other end, I'll be very interested to know what it sounds like on Substack. But on YouTube and LinkedIn yesterday, the sound was terrible. Really terrible. Like dropped out. Like listening to music underwater.
Wow. Because I could have sworn, I don't know if I listened to yours, but I'll have to go back and look. Because you might be right. Maybe I have to load these directly, directly up to like YouTube. I mean, you raise a good point.
If you're going to do a show, we'll have to find a piece of tech that I think Riverside would work. Riverside is very high quality and it prides itself on high quality. I think that would work. It's not that expensive. I don't know if they've got a free version, but Riverside prides itself on high quality sound. I wonder whether that's worth researching. Have you
I'll have to listen to the replay on this, because if it's really bad, then that's going to impact me. Obviously, I don't want to impact the music. That's the whole kind of the whole point. I got to find out how Joshua Lee is doing it, because he's replaying it. And
he's got a roadcaster. He's got a roadcaster. They're $1,000.
Yeah, but how is he? No, but that doesn't explain. Like, I gave him my Suno thing, and he played it back.
Okay. Well, that's a very good point. Is he the person you were talking about that does it on YouTube?
No,
or was that a different person?
That's a different person, and he's not doing music. He's, well, I mean, he does music too, but that's
because I was talking to Lanier yesterday. And she said that she regularly, on the same format, gets 100 to sometimes 500 comments in a show. But she said a couple of things. One is her shows only go for 1 hour.
Right.
They're a business-related show that has a guest. They're on LinkedIn. Right? So they're on LinkedIn and they're about LinkedIn, and they go for 1 hour. Right? They don't typically invite people in the audience to speak. So it's a different format. People come to the show because they want to learn, and if they want to make comments, they make the comments on the side. Right? So I think the format would probably dictate how people would respond. I particularly want to do a show where people come up on stage to talk, and a lot of people are reluctant to do that. I don't mind checking the comments, but I don't really particularly care about that because I mean, hello Lynn, I can see you're listening on Substack now, so I can see that, but I've got to check that, and that's something that I'd rather not do. I'd rather talk to people. Yeah, so the format will dictate what happens. If we make it really, really easy for people to join, they will. I'm probably making it a bit unnecessarily difficult for people to join, which is why they don't. But for you, first things first, we've got to get a system that sounds good, because that's all you've got. Like it's a show about music. That it's got to sound good. That's all you've got, isn't it?
No, that's a fair point. I'm gonna have to run a test, Keith. And this is the thing I wasn't really happy about was when I think I mentioned when, like, for me to do what I just did. Well, wait a minute. I did this. Where else did I play? Well, I did it with you, but I thought I could have sworn I've played Suno's elsewhere, and it sounded okay. I'll have to go back and I'll have to figure out where else I've played, because I've given Any my Suno link, and he's played them too
They've sounded okay for him
on LinkedIn Live.
Yeah, okay. Now this
But
is
I'll go back. I'll have to go back and listen. You raise a good point, because if if the music is crap, and I will say even with Joshua, every once in a while there's, but it's still pretty clear. And then I'm trying to remember her name now. There's another woman, but she's using what you were just talking about, Riverside.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, dude, the friggin' pictures are crystal clear. It's probably 1080p, because this is. Are we doing 1080p or 720p?
720. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even at the pro level, it's still 720.
Yeah.
Right. So
her stuff was crystal clear, and I'm guessing, whatever is probably at a higher voice quality too. So.
And for you, that'd be very important. So for the pricing structure for Riverside, it doesn't have a free version.
Right.
It starts at $24 a month, but that you get up to 4K, and here we are, 48K audio quality. Well, that's better than CD quality. CD quality is 44K. Right? Unbelievable. Like studio up to 4K.
That's the other thing. I'm going to have to start upsampling or whatever, because I output WAV and MP3 out of Suno.
Yeah, the WAV file is much bigger, but it does sound better. So 48K, 48 kilohertz is the bandwidth.
Yep.
Like the studio CD quality is only 44.
Yeah.
So everyone's happy with 44. They do 48. So that's why it sounds so good. But it's $24 a month from the get-go. There's no free version. There's no there's no mucking around. You're into it. Right? You're being charged from the first day.
Hold on. Let me do the calculus here. That's a bit rough to sort out, at least for, Yeah. It's not actually, that's not bad. 24 a month, you said, right?
US, yeah. You'd probably get it slightly cheaper if you did it annually. That's the yearly price. The monthly price is 29, but if you get it yearly, paid yearly in advance, you do
Yeah,
get a
it's
14-day
288.
trial, but there's no free version.
Yeah. Well,
If that's what you want to do, like if that's what you want to do, there's another site that I keep hearing about, but I can't remember the name of it. It's a radio station, a radio simulator.
oh,
Now that I've got my mind out around for that, I'll have a look for you. But you've got a very unique show. The point is to play the songs, and the songs are the point.
yep.
But what I'm really interested in is, do you have an objection to setting up a free teaser on SoundCloud, or does that just feel wrong?
Well, when you say teaser, let's talk about this actually, because I can do little 15-second clips on TikTok and then drive. I don't know, 15 seconds. That's the question. Is 15 seconds long enough?
Well, we're asking two different questions. One is, the teaser is someone says, "Hey, I've heard you can write a song. Do you have any samples?"
Oh, okay. So that it's a complete demo. It's not. It's not.
It's a demo.
Yeah.
You know, when we used to go to pubs and say, "Look, can we play on Saturday night?" It says, "Well, you got a demo? You
Yeah.
played anywhere
Okay.
else before? What do you
Yeah.
sound like?" Well, here's a demo of 6 songs we recorded just right last week, and we played
Yeah.
at the pub up the road 3 weeks ago, so you can ring them if you want. So when people used to ring me and say, "Mate, can you come and speak at my event?" I can. You got any sort of information about what you talk about? Yep, I do. Here's a 10-part series of me. This is what I'll talk about at your event. Just have a listen to that. And if that's what you want me to talk about, I'm in. If not, I'm not offended. I'm busy enough. And I gave them all of the information up front. And then I just simply go and deliver that live. So if someone, this is what I'm thinking. You can do all the teasing you want in the universe, but eventually someone's going to have to ring you and say, "Hey, we got a wedding. Can
Yeah.
you make a song that sounds a little bit like Britney Spears and, you know, Annie Lennox? And can you sort of keep it in a really low minor key thing, like really somber?" And yep, I can do that. Have you got any samples?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's a
got
good
this
point.
15-second clip on TikTok. Well, I'm not on. No, I want to hear
Well,
complete songs, like so you
well,
can have.
yeah,
I
I could
just
do.
think,
I mean, I could do. Well, I can already do that on Suno, dude. But to your point, that's not a show. So I can do a playlist on a demo playlist on Suno.
well, you
And
could
say,
do that.
here's what.
Do it that way, but
Yeah.
in a way, you're thinking about, you're front loading it. What happens when, not if, what happens when someone calls you and say, "Hey, I want a special song for my 50th." I can do that. You got any samples?
Yep.
Yeah, I do. Here's all the songs I've done so far. Have a listen to that, and then you come back to me and say, "Well, I like that third song. You did something like that. Can you make it with a female voice, and can I have a trumpet solo in that?" So
Yep.
you got to give them something to start with,
Yeah. No,
because
and that's
eventually
fair
people
enough.
will call you. They will call you.
But I already have tracks up on Bespoke on the
Well, you
Substack.
okay? Well, you could. Okay, so you're doing that.
Yeah.
You could send them there. Like I want to share this story. This is a very funny story. This guy, I had my first pitch slap on Substack last week, and the guy says, "Hey, I noticed you're on Substack. Do you need any help with that?" Well, he's got 24 followers. Well, I mean, if you have a look, I've got 45 followers, and I Googled you, and I couldn't find you on the internet.
Oops.
What are you doing? Who are you? What are you offering me? What, I can't see any examples of your work. Right? I really appreciate the fact that you're coming at me with your services, but I Googled you and I can't find you. There's
Yeah.
nothing there.
No, that's
And he
fair.
came back to me and says, no, all I'm teaching is Substack monetization. I don't have a website. I don't have a LinkedIn page. I don't have a YouTube channel. And I'm just starting. I got 24 followers. Yeah, well, I've got twice as many followers as you, and I've got a website, and I've got a LinkedIn page, and I've got a YouTube channel, and I've been doing this 20 years. What could you possibly do for me? And why would I pay you? And it floored him. But that's what we do. We Google them, right? We Google people.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be SoundCloud, of course. It could be Suno, it could be Substack, but you've got to have a sample page. What do you do?
No, yeah. Well, that's what Bespoke Musica is. That's why I actually built the Substack publication of.
So you could actually have and this is a very good strategy. Here is a typical wedding song.
Yeah.
And the wedding song post, how I did it, what I did, what I chose, what instruments I
Yep.
used, what's my inspiration.
Yep.
Then have a rock song page, have a happy 50th page, have a happy 21st, happy bar mitzvah, happy, honeymoon page. So each of those could become a very cool post. Like each of your songs could be a post. What did you do? There's the lyrics. And I'm all for this because I Google people. Like it's all about reputation, isn't it?
Actually, that's a good question, though, Keith. Is Substack Googleable?
I don't think its SEO is very good.
Uh,
This is actually if you've hit the nail on the head right here. This is the reason why I love Substack. I love SoundCloud. SoundCloud has fantastic SEO. I want you to do this one day, not necessarily today, but I want you to Google my name, and I want to find out what you see there in your town. When Zara, who came on yesterday, was on, she Googled me, and I was number 3 in the world for SoundCloud in her town. And she goes, Keith, I Googled you and you were number 3 in SoundCloud for my name, from what I do. So, I've got a LinkedIn page, I've got a Facebook page, I've got a YouTube channel, I've got a Substack account, I've got a SoundCloud account. But of all the things that I've got, SoundCloud comes up number 1 for my name, for what I do. There's other Keith Kellers. That's why I'm saying this. There's a couple of other Keith Kellers. There's a quite famous baseball player, quite a famous motorcycle rider. There's an orthopedic surgeon. And I think there was actually another muso, right? So people are saying, oh, you're that Keith Keller. So that might not happen to you. But when this guy said to me, can I help you with your branding? I said, well, I don't know if you can, because I can't find you. And what are you going to teach me? I mean, I'm not saying that as an ego. I'm just saying, if I'm going to pay you money, you've got to do something that I can't do myself. And what are you doing? Like, I can't find you. You don't have a good brand. How can I trust that you'll help me with my brand? And more importantly, do something I can't do myself. So this is how I would do it. If I came to you and said, oh, can you write me a song for my 40th birthday, however long ago that was, I'd say, have you ever done this? Have you done this before? Have you got any samples? I like these bands. You got anything in this style? This is how I would do it. Here's my 10 favorite bands. Anything like this? You got a ZZ Top version, a Status Quo, a Blackstone Cherry Seether, Alter Bridge, Bon Jovi. I mean, have you got anything like that? Oh, yeah. Right. You've reminded me. I've got this really cool thing like Bon Jovi. I think you'll like this. Because we all have our own style of music. Like what we need to do, you and I, as a present to Bez, because he's never going to do it himself, is we need to write a song for him in the spirit of Bad Bunny. Man, between you and me, I don't like Bad Bunny. I don't like that style of music, but I'm prepared to make some music for him in that style. It might not be very authentic because I just can't get my head around what he's doing, but I get it. He's pretty popular. So you and I could probably write a song in that style and send it to Bez, and he'd love it. And he's never going to do it. So he's in a way your ideal client because he can't do it himself. And that's what people are going to do. They're going to come to you and say, I really like Shania Twain or Britney Spears or, Celine Dion. can you write a song that we can play on the Titanic as we're sinking? Can you do that type of song for me? Yeah, I can do that. It'd be a great challenge. It'd be just a fantastic challenge. I just love it. So what we've done today, I'm very proud. We've done this show to 3 places. Are you doing shows? Are you doing what do you do on Substack? What do your posts consist of? You said you got 4 publications.
Well, okay, so I have a poet one, the poetry one, but certain poems I've turned into songs. So, and one of those has video. So I have videos, I have tracks, and then I have poetry on that publication. Then I have Bespoke Musica, which has the tracks, and I think I sent you to the one video. It's it's my best video so far, and I am using Kling to do the clips, and then CapCut to string them
Yeah.
together.
Look, there's a lot in this, and it's good. Like, someone's got to do this. The average person in the street
Yeah.
will not do it themselves,
No,
and we
But
need to
I-
be
I'm-
paid for that, don't we? We need to be paid for our
yeah,
time.
yes, and that's the difference, right? Keith, is can you do it? Do you have the ear? Do you have the to your point, you had that guy, that went to your friend and said, I have this song in my head. Can you make it? I'm like, no, because I can't crime in your head. And by the way, Keith, I will say, I'm a little worried because I've done graphic for people, and they couldn't describe what they wanted, and so I was kind of in an endless loop, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to have to your point, I'm going to have to kind of know how to guide the client, and you've already mentioned, if it's in if it's too close to any of these famous songs, I could get a strike or a problem with copyright infringement. So I'm going to say, well, I can do it in the style of, but it's not going to sound like it, because I think I'm going to get into, and I would probably maybe even hit up a lawyer, because I don't want to be, I mean, Bez did bring up a point which I was thinking about doing already, and that is probably starting an LLC and then getting some sort of liability insurance if I'm going to, do this full time. But the liability stuff would probably be more for the streaming and the selling of, not necessarily the event.
But you've got a good solid model. Look, if you had 10 different songs, and the
Yep.
person who doesn't know anything about music said, look, that third song where there was a bit of a piano and a female
Yep.
singer,
Yep.
let's start there.
Yeah.
And
No, I could do that, but I'm only gonna do. I mean, that's the thing. And I'll have to actually write this up. You bring some good points up. I'm gonna have to write this up and say, look, my time is worth money. So if you're gonna have endless rewrites, then I'm not gonna do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
what
So
most graphic designers do is they give you a premise. So for $50, I'll throw you an idea, 3 rewrites. For $100, I'll give you 2 ideas, 6 rewrites.
Yeah.
And so if we get it straight away, that's brilliant. But you've got 6 turns, because my time is valuable, and you probably don't know
Yep.
what you want. And for $200, it's 10 examples, unlimited rewrites. It might be $50, $100, $200, unlimited rewrites until you're happy. Right? And then you'll have to set that price wherever that is, $250, $500. But for $100, I'll send you 2 examples, and we can have 3 rewrites.
yeah.
And that's the price. That's the product, if you like. And if you've got to write the lyrics too, well, that's really hard. Like, you're going to write
It
lyrics.
is.
That's really hard. But if someone,
Well, because for me, and what I did today, just to let you know, like for the ones like Jackie, I can't remember her last name, but she does the show Just Jacks, and she loved it. Well, I did a bunch of research, and went to her LinkedIn, and then I watched a couple of her shows. So, but that's pro bono, and I can't remember how long. I mean, the doing of it wasn't that long. It was all the research, and that's kind of true of a lot of things. And my poetry is the same way. It's and to your point, you have an intro. Usually I write 3 or 4 verses, a chorus, a bridge, and an outro. So, and I'm trying to keep them within like 3 minutes or 3 to 4 minutes. Anything longer than that,
Most people won't know how hard it is for you to do it.
Yeah.
They'll just want the finished product, and no one knows how. I don't know how long it takes a guy to make an Indian curry when I go there. It costs me $20. I turn up. I don't know how long he's been in the kitchen. I just turn up and go, "Oh, that's pretty yummy. That takes me 10 minutes to eat. How much do you want? And can I get some samosas with that?"
No, that's completely fair. Well, because for me, the prep is equivalent to doing the prep, right? The prep is what probably takes the longest. At least, like when I'm cooking, the prep is what takes the long time, not the cooking. Yeah, that's equivalent to all the prep that I do to get it into lyrics, and then I put it. Although that's not true either, because after I put into Suno, I listen to it, and then I typically almost every song not every song, but most of the songs I've done, I end up doing some lyric change.
Yeah,
because it just doesn't sound quite like I thought it was going to.
I had a very, very interesting thought about this. This is partially why I don't want to do it. I am a creative, and I would hate to spoil my creative flow by charging for it. And I know that sounds silly, because
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't at all. Because, dude, that's why I didn't become a commercial artist. I used to draw as a kid, and I started taking art courses, and I actually took some courses in college. And I just said, because I had done some work for my then mother-in-law, and I don't know if you've ever done commissioned work, but I don't like doing commissioned work, because it goes back to what I just talked about with these other people that didn't know what they wanted. She knew what she wanted, but it takes, I don't know how to describe it, but it takes something out of the flow or the whatever, the creativity, when you're doing a commission. So that's something I do have to think about. And that's the other reason, Keith, that I'm thinking I'll just create the tracks, put them on Bandcamp and streaming
you
platforms.
can do it that way. Yeah, you
And
created them and you love them. Yep.
Yep.
Charge
Either, you love them or you don't. And if you don't, then I say, oh, give it a good go. I kind of want to do both, but it seems like the more we talk, it seems like this. I like this idea of the custom or bespoke, but I think it's gonna. I don't know. You got me thinking now. I'm gonna have to worry about. There's no way to do endless rewrites.
Yeah.
So I would have to come up with some sort of package, to your point.
Well, my wife loves traveling, but she's also a financial planner during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people that travel and work at the same time. I think that I personally think that muddies the water. When we travel, we're traveling. We're away. We're together. We're having fun. We're looking at things. When we're working, we're working. Right? And I don't know what had happened if Carol traveled and worked at the same time, whether her work would become better or worse, and whether the traveling would be spoiled. Because when you're traveling, you're in a holiday mode, right? You're going. Yeah. So we travel to rest for 4 weeks. Don't do any work. Never do any work. Never. I check my phone and maybe talk to people, but I don't do any sort of live streams or any creative things. I'm with Carol, and we're traveling, and we're seeing things, and we're there, right there. These sort of digital nomads, I'd be very fascinated to know what it's like, because they're working at midnight in this coffee shop in Bali, trying to pump out this this document they've got to get done before the client rings them the next day. And I'm thinking, well, that's just work. Sure, you're in a coffee shop in Bali, but I would rather go to Bali and enjoy it and then come home and work. I would rather keep those separated. That's why I'm a little bit dubious about making money from writing music. Luckily we've paid off the house, so I can do this for fun now. But the question, of course, then is, well, how else do you make money? What else do you do? What else is there? Well, there's 100 other ways to make money. And
But what else are you doing, Keith? I know this is a personal question, but what are you doing to keep out of trouble?
That is a good question. It has occurred to me to come to unretire, because one of the reasons I've decided to have October off is I wanted to challenge myself and ask the question, am I just doing the shows because I've got nothing to do, or do I really love them? And is there a better use of my time? Right. I haven't planned any shows for October. And what am I doing? I'm doing shows because I love doing them. I just gravitate back to it, right?
No, but I think, Keith, and I'm trying to prepare at some point, and this is why I'm also doing this, right? Is I'm trying to prepare for retirement. I can't do nothing. I would go nuts. So I see this as one thing that I could do in retirement. And I also can do this because of the tools. I can do this on the go. So I could be at the beach relaxing, and I don't know how your creativity works, but sometimes I get an idea and I have to at least write the idea down, because otherwise I kind of will lose it. And we lost Keith. He's back.
Yeah. So in spite of my 520, I still lost it. But we've been going 5 hours. You were on a bit of a roll there. You said you're preparing for
retirement. Yeah. And one of the things I do, Keith, is I'll get like an inspiration. So I have to at least write like the idea down, otherwise I'll forget it. And so I'm preparing to do at least some level of this, and you kind of almost talked me into the streaming and selling on Bandcamp idea versus the the custom stuff. But anyway, regardless, my creativity is, the more I think about this, the more I won't do bespoke.
It might spoil it for you, do you think?
Well, because there's two different, and this isn't egotistical, but there's two different ways. I would rather, and by the way, I wanted to do this with my photography and my painting too. I don't know if you've ever seen, and I can't think of any names off the top of my head, but there have been certain very well-known artists and whatever that you have to go to them, and they tell you what they're going to do. It's not like you tell them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because you like their, I don't know, let's pick Da Vinci or something. And I don't know if this was true of Da Vinci, because I think he had to work for princes and whatever. But let's say I'm so good that people come to me, and then they can ask me to do a certain painting, but after that, it's done. They're out of the picture.
You're like Mozart, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no rewrites. This is like, okay, you asked me, I took all that information in, and I created a masterpiece for you. And that's it. There's no rewrites. There's no nothing.
Yep.
And to be honest, that's kind of what I've been doing so far with these folks because they're getting it for free. It's like, but I still do different variations. And there was a couple that needed a few things taken out, and because they had some objections to the actual words. I'm like, yeah, I can do that, no worries. But you've actually gotten me thinking a lot more as to maybe I will focus more on the streaming / selling of tracks versus the
Yeah.
other one.
Do your thing, and maybe it is bespoke, but the rewrites is the thing that comes back to you. Like when Mozart wrote one of his famous operas, the Kapellmeister, or said, "Oh, look, there's a lot of dancing in this.
Yep.
The King of Austria doesn't like dancing, so you have to take out the dancing." Well, what do you mean? There's this 16-minute part right in the middle of this dance. It's perfect. I wrote it. It's perfect. You have to take it out. Right, and the king comes to and they see this little thing where there's no music, and the people are still dancing, and he said, "What's this?" "Well, your ruling says I can't have this." "Well, that's a bit silly. Put it back." So Mozart was at the beck and call of the King of Austria, but
Yeah.
and there was no choice then, like in the 1700s. But we have a choice, and I'm purely creative, and I'm a little bit sort of left in that way, but a little bit forceful in that way. But the point is that if you do it too far the other way, it just becomes a job. And then what have you got as a nice hobby? Your hobby's your job, and your job's your hobby. Then what do you do?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And to your point, absolutely, I would, if I was going to do the bespoke thing, if I went vacay, that's vacay is vacay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that stuff I'm not even going to take a call on that would have to go to whatever. And I would set something up on, electronically that they put a form in or something, and I'd make it clear, here's my schedule. I don't, I'm away.
Yeah, it's very important. But look, we probably got a signal there that it's time to wrap up. We've been going for 2 hours. What I'm going to do, I'm very excited about this. I'm going to let Substack run this and create its own file, and from that it will create 4 to 5 little snippets. That's why I want to use it. That's the main reason I want to use it. I want to try these files, and I want to see whether or not it creates reasonable snippets for me to use again. Because you are right, LinkedIn's not doing us any favors.
I mean, to me, Substack has a lot of tools for repurposing, and not just repurposing, but replatforming, if you will. LinkedIn isn't doing that, and you have to go to Restream to get. Yes, you can send it to LinkedIn, but LinkedIn's not doing anything for you, and they're not allowing you to chop it up. The only thing Lanier said was that it sits on your profile or whatever, maybe forever. I don't know, but I'm like, okay, so LinkedIn didn't create it. I created it, or it landed on LinkedIn. It's not like I'm doing actually. I'm trying to think. You always need something to do a LinkedIn Live, right? You can't just
it doesn't have any inbuilt tech anymore.
Right. So I'm like, what are you offering me? I mean, yes, it's a business platform, yada yada yada, and there's you can network on it, but I'm finding more and more, particularly the reach thing. I don't want to have to guess as to who's seeing my stuff.
Yeah. Well, do you want to? You may not know Jason's story, but Jason, as we chatted today, he's on the verge of quitting his day job as a teacher.
Yeah.
To sell videos about dogs.
Yeah.
That's his passion. He's got 2 really cool dogs, and 249,000 followers on Instagram, selling T-shirts and stuffies. He's been doing it 6 years, but he's building up. He's right on the cusp of deciding whether or not he can afford to not work as a teacher.
But there, he's doing his passion, right? And this is kind of what we were talking about is he's doing his passion. He's passionate about the dogs. People are not going to come to him and say, do the XYZ. I mean, they'll follow him because they like his stuff, But and by the way, dog stuff is huge. My wife watches endless. She likes the golden doodles, and apparently there's a ton of golden doodle videos out there.
Well, she might
And
even have heard of this guy, but people
Anyway.
follow him and then they go, "Well, can I get a stuffy of your dog for my kid? And can I get a T-shirt of your dog for my husband?" And he's seriously considered having alliances with pet insurance companies and dog food brands, and he's
Wow.
he's right at that level.
Yeah.
And he was on our
Well,
call. Like, he's in Alberta, actually, Red Deer. I think he's in Red Deer, Alberta, or might be Medicine Hat. But he's doing it, and he's our friend.
Yep.
So that's why I do these shows, because I just want to give everyone a turn and tell. I don't really know that much myself. I just want to give everyone a turn to speak. We learn from each other.
Yeah, and this is the thing I don't understand. I think, and I bring up on other shows this idea of scarcity and abundance, and I think scarcity basically says I have a skill, and I'm so scared that someone's gonna like figure out what I'm doing that I'm not gonna share any information with them. I'm like, how about collaboration and not competition? And I think there's enough ways to make income out there. You just have to work on them. I mean, the very successful entrepreneurs, in some cases they've been serial entrepreneurs, but in some cases they've had failures first, and then they did well. You don't necessarily do well out of the chute. Anyway, I got to run, dude. It's been a major pleasure.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at this, and I've sent you some screenshots with the timestamps so we can go back and have a look at them. I'm going to finish this off and let Substack do its thing. I'll play my
Awesome.
little 7-second hustle, my 7-second theme song, and I'll finish the show.